They say if you make a deal with something that isn't human, you should read the fine print. Lena didn't read the fine print. She was a lazy girl. Everyone said so. Her mother said it. The neighbors said it. And when the queen came to inspect the village and found Lena's mother beating her for refusing to spin, her mother lied to save face. She's not lazy, Your Majesty, her mother said. She's obsessed. She spins so much I can't afford to buy her enough flax. She'd spin from dawn to dusk if I let her. She's the best spinner in the kingdom. It was a complete lie. Lena couldn't spin to save her life. Hated it. Was terrible at it. But the queen was impressed. Perfect. My son needs a wife who's industrious. I'll take her to the palace. If she can spin 3 rooms full of flax into thread in 3 days, she marry the prince. Lena tried to explain, tried to tell the truth. But her mother had already agreed, and the queen's guards were already dragging her toward the royal carriage. 3 rooms, 3 days. 3 impossible tasks for a girl who couldn't spin a single thread without breaking it. Lena was locked in the first room that night, surrounded by mountains of flax, given a spinning wheel, told that if she failed, she'd be executed for wasting the queen's time. She tried to spin, failed, tried again, failed again. By midnight, she was crying. The flax was a tangled mess, and she had maybe 3 inches of broken thread to show for 6 hours of work. That's when they appeared. 3 women, but not normal women. The first had a foot so large and flat it looked like a shovel. The second had a thumb so long it hung down to her knee. The third had a lip so huge it drooped down to her chest. "We can help," the first one said. "We'll spin all the flax, finish all 3 rooms. Save your life." "Why?" Lena asked. "What do you want in return?" The 3 women smiled with too many teeth. "Nothing much. Just invite us to your wedding. Call us your aunts. Give us seats of honor at the feast. That's all." It seemed too easy. Too simple. But Lena was desperate and stupid and thought she understood the deal. She didn't, because these weren't helpful fairy godmothers. They were something older, something that collected debts in ways humans didn't understand. And the price for their help wasn't seats at a feast. It was so much worse than that. Subscribe and comment which fairy tale you want darkened next. The 3 women appeared at midnight, materializing from shadows like they'd always been there. Lena stopped crying long enough to stare at them. They were grotesque, the kind of deformity that made you want to look away but couldn't. The first woman's right foot was massive, flat as a dinner plate, spreading out from her ankle like she was standing on a shovel. The second woman's right thumb was elongated, hanging down past her knee like a third leg, the nail thick and yellow. The third woman's bottom lip drooped down to her chest, wet and swollen, like a piece of raw meat hanging from her face. "Who are you?" Lena whispered. "Helpers," the first woman said. Her voice was surprisingly normal, almost kind. "We're here to save you from execution. How did you—" "We know a desperate girl when we see one." The second woman gestured at the tangled mess of flax surrounding Lena. "You can't spin. Never could. And now the queen expects 3 rooms done in 3 days, or you lose your head." "I'll tell the truth," Lena said weakly. "I'll explain that my mother lied. The queen doesn't care about truth," the third woman said, her massive lip moving weightly as she spoke. "She cares about results. You fail, you die. It's that simple." Lena looked at the mountains of flax, at the spinning wheel that mocked her incompetence, at the locked door. "Then I'm dead. I can't do this." "But we can," the first woman said. She walked to the spinning wheel with that grotesque flat foot making wet slapping sounds on the stone floor. "We've been spinning for a very long time. We're very good at it. Why would you help me?" The 3 women looked at each other. Something passed between them, understanding, agreement, anticipation. "We want to retire," the second woman said. "But first we need a favor, a small thing, barely worth mentioning." "What favor?" Lena asked. When you marry the prince, because you will marry him if we help you invite us to the wedding. Introduce us as your beloved aunts. Give us seats of honor at the feast. Let us be part of the celebration. The third woman smiled, and it was filled with that massive lip. That's all. Just acknowledgement. Just respect. Lena stared at them. That's it? You'll spin all this flax, save my life, and all you want is to come to my wedding. That's all, they said in unison. It seemed too easy, too simple. But Lena was 18 and desperate and not particularly bright. She didn't ask why they wanted to attend, didn't question what they got out of the deal, didn't wonder why 3 grotesque women who could spin impossibly fast would work for free just for an invitation to a party. Fine, Lena said. Yes, deal. Help me and I'll invite you to the wedding. The women smiled. Then step back, girl, and watch how real spinning is done. They worked through the night. All 3 of them at once, moving in synchronization, their deformed body parts working the wheels with practiced efficiency. The flat foot pumped the treadle with rhythmic precision. The elongated thumb twisted the thread with impossible speed. The massive lip licked the fibers smooth, wetting them, shaping them. Lena watched in horrified fascination as mountains of raw flax became spools of perfect thread. The women didn't talk while they worked, didn't rest, didn't slow down. They just spun hour after hour, their deformed bodies moving like machines, like they'd been doing this forever and would keep doing it until the end of time. By dawn, the first room was finished. Every scrap of flax transformed into perfect thread. The queen came at sunrise, accompanied by her son Prince Adrian, a handsome boy Lena's age who looked vaguely disgusted to be here. The queen examined the thread, pulling it, testing it, looking for flaws. Exceptional, she finally said. I've never seen such perfect work. You are indeed talented, girl. Lena opened her mouth to confess, to tell the truth. But the 3 women were standing in the corner now, visible only to her, shaking their heads in mourning. Thank you, Your Majesty, Lena said instead. The second room, the queen commanded. Same deadline. Tomorrow dawn, the pattern repeated for 3 days. The women spun through each night. Lena slept and watched and felt increasingly uneasy about the deal she'd made. The second room, the third room. All finished perfectly. On the 4th day, the queen declared the impossible task complete. You've proven yourself worthy, she said. My son will marry you in 3 days. Congratulations, future princess. Prince Adrian looked at Lena like she was a particularly boring piece of furniture he'd been forced to purchase. But he didn't object. Duty was duty. The wedding was lavish. The entire kingdom attended. Lena wore silk and jewels and pretended she belonged here. Pretended she'd earned this through skill instead of a bargain she didn't understand. At the feast, the 3 women appeared. They materialized at the entrance to the great hall, wearing their finest clothes, which couldn't hide their grotesque deformities. The flat foot, the hanging thumb, the drooping lip. Every noble in the room stared, whispered, recoiled. Lena's stomach dropped. She'd forgotten about them. Had hoped they'd forgotten about the invitation. But here they were, demanding payment. Who are those creatures? The queen asked, her voice sharp with disgust. Lena swallowed hard. My aunts, Your Majesty. I promised them seats of honor at my wedding. Those things are related to you? Prince Adrian looked at Lena with new horror. Distant relatives, Lena said quickly. Very distant. The 3 women approached the head table, sat in the empty seats beside Lena, smiled at the assembled nobles with too many teeth. Prince Adrian stared at them, at their deformities. Finally, his curiosity overcame his revulsion. Forgive me for asking, but what happened to you? Those injuries, were you born with them? Born? The first woman laughed. No, dear boy. These are occupational hazards. From what occupation? Spinning, the second woman said, holding up her grotesquely elongated thumb. This came from twisting thread for 300 years. The constant motion, the repetitive strain. It grows over time. And mine, the first woman said, tapping her massive flat foot from working the treadle. Press, 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 thousands of times a day for centuries. The foot spreads, flattens, becomes this. And mine, the third woman said, her massive lip moving weightly from licking the thread smooth, wetting it, shaping it. For so long that the lip swells and droops and never returns to normal, Prince Adrian went pale. He looked at Lena with dawning horror. You spin. The queen says you're the best spinner in the kingdom. If you keep spinning, you'll end up like me. He stood abruptly, his chair scraping against stone. I forbid it. You will never touch a spinning wheel again, ever. I don't care if it was your talent that earned this marriage. I won't have my life deformed like them. The three women smiled. How considerate, the first one said. How protective, the second added. How perfect, the third finished. They stood in unison, bowed to Lena. Thank you for the invitation, niece. We're very grateful. And now we'll take our leave. We have a long journey ahead of us. Where are you going? Lena asked. Something in their smiles made her nervous. Retirement, the first woman said. We've earned it, don't you think? 300 years of spinning, retired. Time to rest. They left, disappeared into the crowd. And Lena felt a strange sensation in her right foot, a tingling, like something was shifting beneath the skin. It started that night. Lena was in her new chambers, a princess now, married to a prince who barely looked at her. She was getting ready for bed when she felt it again, that tingling in her right foot. She sat down, pulled off her slipper, stared. Her foot was spreading, not dramatically. Not yet. But the bones were shifting, the arch flattening, the toes widening. She pressed on it and felt the structure changing beneath her skin. No, she whispered. No, no, no. She looked at her right hand. Her thumb looked normal. But when she flexed it, she felt something deep in the joint, a pulling sensation, like something was trying to elongate, and her lip. She touched it. It felt swollen, tender, like it was preparing to grow. Lena ran to the mirror, stared at her reflection. She looked normal, still herself. But she could feel it now, the curse taking root in her body, beginning the slow transformation that would take decades. Centuries, turning her into what those three women had been. She tried to scream, opened her mouth, but no sound came out. Her voice was gone, stolen. The door to her chambers opened. Prince Adrian entered, saw her standing there with her mouth open, tears streaming down her face. What's wrong? He asked, concern replacing his usual indifference. Lena pointed at her foot, at her thumb. Tried to make him understand. He looked, frowned. Your foot looks fine. Your hand looks fine. Are you having some kind of nervous episode? The wedding was stressful, I understand, but he couldn't see it. The changes were too subtle yet, invisible to anyone who didn't know what to look for. Lena grabbed a piece of parchment, wrote frantically, "The spinners, they cursed me. I'm becoming like them. I need help." Adrian rated. That's absurd. You made a deal to invite them to the wedding. They came, they left. Deal fulfilled. He crumpled the parchment. You're being paranoid. But he was wrong. Over the next week, the changes accelerated. Lena's foot grew an inch wider. Her thumb elongated by 2 inches. Her lips started to swell, drooping slightly, making it hard to eat without drooling. The court physicians examined her, found nothing, said it was hysteria, female nervousness, recommended bloodletting and rest. But Lena knew the truth. The 3 women hadn't wanted seats at a wedding. They'd wanted a replacement. They'd spent 300 years spinning, their bodies deforming under the strain. and they'd found a desperate, stupid girl to take their place. The curse was progressive, would take decades to fully manifest, but it was inevitable. Lena would spend the rest of her life, and it would be a long life, magically extended to serve the curse, with her body slowly transforming, foot spreading, thumb growing, lip drooping. And when the deformities became impossible to hide, when the court banished her, when she had nowhere else to go, she'd do what the three women had done. She'd find isolated places, dark forests, abandoned towers, and she'd spin. And now, Lena would spin for the next 300, waiting, hiding, slowly becoming more grotesque with each passing year, until she found her own desperate girl, until she could pass the curse forward, until she could finally retire. A year later, Lena left the palace. The deformities had become too obvious to hide. Her foot was twice its normal size. Her thumb hung down to her knee, her lip drooped to her chest. Prince Adrian was relieved to see her go, annulled the marriage, told everyone his wife had been cursed by witches and run away in shame. Lena found a cottage in the forest, set up a spinning wheel, and began to spin, century after century, her body continuing to deform, the curse marking her flesh, the magic keeping her alive far past any natural lifespan. She spun because the curse demanded it, because something in her bones needed the repetitive motion now, because she was no longer entirely human. She was a spinner, one of three, waiting for the fourth to be desperate enough to accept the bargain. 300 years later, when a desperate girl named Marie stumbled into Lena's cottage, crying because she'd been tasked with spinning straw into gold and couldn't do it, Lena smiled. "I can help," she said with her grotesque, drooping lip. "We can help," because she'd found two others over the centuries. Two other girls who'd made similar bargains with similar creatures. Two other spinners, deformed and cursed and desperate for retirement. And now Marie was desperate too. "What do you want in return?" Marie asked, staring at Lena's massive foot, elongated thumb, drooping lip. "Nothing much," Lena said. "Just invite us to your wedding. Call us your aunts. Give us seats of honor," Marie agreed. Of course she did. Desperation makes people stupid, makes them agree to things they don't understand. And the cycle continued. Forever. 3 spinners passing their curse to the next desperate girl. An eternal chain of deformity and magic and bargains that cost more than anyone realized. Lena retired, finally, after 300 years of spinning. And somewhere in a kingdom far away, Marie felt the first tingling in her right foot and realized, too late, what she'd agreed to. The curse doesn't end, it just changes hands. That's the deal, that's the price. That's what happens when you don't read the fine print. The curse is still out there, right now. Somewhere in the world, 3 grotesque women are spinning, waiting for someone desperate enough to accept their help. And somewhere else, a girl is about to make a deal she doesn't understand, about to agree to terms she hasn't read, about to trade temporary salvation for permanent damnation. That's how the curse works. It doesn't end, it transfers. Like a disease passing from host to host. Like a debt that can never be paid, only pass forward to the next desperate person. Lena served her 300 years. Watched her body deform decade by decade. Felt her foot spread until she couldn't wear normal shoes. Watched her thumb grow until it dragged on the ground when she walked. Felt her lips swell and droop until eating became a nightmare and speaking became humiliating. But the worst part wasn't the physical deformation. It was the isolation. The decades spent alone in forests and caves and abandoned towers, spinning endlessly because the curse demanded it. The centuries watching the world change, while she stayed frozen in her grotesque form, neither fully alive nor properly dead. She met the other 2 spinners during her 2nd century, found them in their own isolated places, recognized the deformities, understood immediately what they were. They didn't speak much. What was there to say? They were all trapped in the same curse, all waiting for the same release. Together, they perfected the pitch, the offer. The deal that sounded too good to be true because it was. We'll help you, save you, fix your impossible problem. All we ask is an invitation to your wedding. So simple, so harmless, so completely devastating. Because the invitation wasn't payment, it was transfer. The moment the cursed ones appeared at the wedding, explained their deformities, and the husband for bad spinning, the curse activated, transferred, began its slow work on the new victim. And the old spinners were free. Finally, after centuries of servitude. Lena left Marie spinning in that cottage and walked into the world as a free woman for the first time in 300 years. Her deformities remained. The curse didn't erase the damage it had done. Her foot was still grotesque. Her thumb still hung to her knee. Her lips still drooped to her chest. But she wasn't compelled to spin anymore, wasn't bound to the wheel, wasn't waiting for the next desperate girl. She was just a deformed old woman, magically extended to an unnatural age, carrying the scars of a bargain she'd made when she was young and stupid and desperate. She lived another 100 years, died quietly in a city where nobody knew her story, was buried in an unmarked grave because nobody claimed her body. And somewhere, Marie was still spinning, still waiting, still deforming. The curse doesn't care about fairness, doesn't care that Lena was tricked, that she didn't understand the terms, that she was desperate and had no choice. The curse just is eternal, transferable, waiting. Right now, 3 women are spinning. Their bodies are grotesque from centuries of work. They're tired. They're ready to retire. They're looking for someone desperate. Maybe that someone is you. Maybe you'll face an impossible task. Maybe you'll be crying at midnight, surrounded by flax you can't spin, straw you can't turn to gold, a problem you can't solve. And maybe 3 grotesque women will appear and offer to help. For nothing. For free. Just an invitation to your wedding. And you'll say yes because you're desperate. Because the offer sounds too good to refuse. Because you think you understand the deal. But you don't. You never do. Nobody reads the fine print when they're drowning. And by the time you realize what you've agreed to, your foot will already be tingling. Your thumb will already be pulling. Your lip will already be swelling. And you'll spend the next 300 years spinning, waiting, deforming, until you find your own desperate fool to pass the curse to. That's the truth of the 3 spinners. That's the darkness hiding in the fairy tale. That's what happens when you make deals with things that aren't human. The curse is patient. The curse is eternal. And the curse is always looking for the next spinner. Read the fine print. Always read the fine print. Even when you're desperate.